Hi, welcome back to my channel. In episode 2 of Color Theory, I will complete the S-grid model by swatching all the primary colors and mixing them, demonstrate why certain primary colors when mixed cause muddy or muted colors, introduce the concept of complementary colors and their importance, and lastly, share some practical applications of the color wheel in composition and artwork inspiration. So let's get started. Alright, let's pick up where we left off in episode 1. If you haven't seen episode 1, click on the link above to watch it. I have got my primary yellow in mid, cool and warm tones on my palette. I will mix them individually with the other primary colors of red and blue and swatch them on the S-grid worksheet. Later I will do the same for primary reds and blues. First, I mix a cool yellow and a warm red, and as expected, the resulting secondary color is an orange. And as you continue to mix the different yellows with the reds, you will get an interesting spectrum of various oranges, ranging from light orange to bright vermilion, gold orange, rust, to more muted dull oranges. Next, I will take a warm red, a cadmium red, and mix it with the various blues. The first one being a warm blue or ultramarine blue. You will notice that how much ever I try, I'm not being able to make a secondary purple. The same goes for any blues when mixed with a warm red. So why does this happen? You would remember from episode 1 the concept of color bias, where primary colors can be classified as mid, warm or cool depending on the bias towards the secondary color it leans towards or wants to make. A cadmium red is a warm red and is biased towards making a secondary orange and not a secondary purple. However, any blue, warm or cool, will have a bias towards making purple or green. In a way, blue has nothing to do with orange, the secondary color a warm red wants to make. Orange is completely on the opposite side of the color wheel. So hold that thought for the section coming up on complementary colors. So till now, it's safe to say that any warm reds mixed with any type of blue, cool, mid or warm has a bias for creating different secondary colors. So you will never get a beautiful purple and end up with muddy browns or neutrals. However, when you mix a cool red that has an inherent bias towards making purple with any blue, you will end up making a vast spectrum of beautiful purples and magentas. Mixing primary yellow and blue to form green works on the same principle. Cool yellows and cool blues have an affinity or bias to mix a secondary green, and hence you will get the truest greens when you mix them. However, mixing yellows and blues that pull on the opposite bias of creating secondary colors will result in muted or dull greens, like when a warm ultramarine blue mixes with any yellow. For the next section on complementary colors, I first fill out a color wheel using a cool yellow, mid blue and a cool red. By this stage, you should be able to expect the secondary and tertiary colors resulting from the mixing of these primaries. Complementary colors are pairs of colors on the opposite side of the color wheel. They form the strongest contrast and hence in an artwork look good together by reinforcing each other's intensity. However, when complementary colors mix together, they subtract or cancel each other out. This means they produce grayscale colors or neutrals like browns and grays. The most common complementary pairs are red and green, blue and orange, yellow and purple. Complementary colors thus make an excellent choice for creating natural looking shadows in artworks. Extending the same logic, natural blacks are created hence by mixing all three primary colors together or complementary pairs of colors. Here is another example of a warmer color wheel with a warm red and a warm yellow along with a cool blue. The orange is obviously more vibrant than the color wheel shown above. But you see the greens here are muted in this color wheel. Hopefully it's easy to grasp by now as to why that happens. A cool blue has a green bias, but a warm yellow pulls towards orange or has a red bias. Green and red are complementary colors, creating a grayscale when mixed, hence the muted secondary green. And the dreaded warm red with any blue, no surprises, leads to muddy browns. This is how not to say a warm red is not a useful color. It is a great choice for those who paint portraits of people, earth and water landscapes, and more. I have used it often as a main subject in focus that brings out a contrast in a painting. The possibilities of color mixing are truly infinite. For example, I can even choose two colors sitting fairly close to one another on a color wheel, called analogous colors, split them apart as two unique primaries, and create a more uniform toned color wheel. Here I take a yellow, a green, and a neutral color as my primaries and create a color wheel. And then I do a simple exercise to create a watercolor thumbnail of the first things that it inspires. Even a traditional color wheel can be used to inspire ideas on artwork. An ice cream cone inspired from warm colors, for example. And in this case, a relatively cooler palette that inspires a serene waterscape thumbnail art, which, where I was happy with, actually became a full painting project to develop. Pops of complementary colors like red in a relatively cool green-blue palette is also another way to inspire compositions.
So go ahead and have fun exploring all the possibilities and creating your own color wheels. Thanks for watching.